Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am an urban homesteader with my husband here in South Texas, and I thought we'd have a heart to heart today. Um, this delicious homemade from scratch zucchini bread down below, which I'm having for a snack today. But I see a trend happening on YouTube with a lot of homesteaders and prepper channels, and I'm not. And I know I'm not alone in this. My husband and I are urban homesteaders in South Texas, and we have a garden, and we have a small Etsy shop for bath and body that we make. You know, not hardcore prepping, not prepping for an apocalypse or the end of the world, not to instill fear, not to come from a place of fear, because we're not supposed to be fearful. We're supposed to trust in the Lord. And times are getting hard again for a lot of people. Times have been hard for a lot of people for the past 2 years. And, coming from a place of fear, it's very hard to think clearly. So I just wanted to kind of go over some of the things that we've talked about amongst ourselves that we've set for goals for ourselves. Now, I'm not going to tell anybody what they should be doing or anything like that, but it's more just building on skills and building what you have already. So you're going to want to get a pad and paper out, either take some notes or future things like that. So I think one thing I wanted to touch on most importantly was don't spend. If you don't have the money, don't go out and buy a horde of things because charging stuff is not going to put you financially. So I just wanted to get that out there. So I'm not telling anybody to go run out and buy things. Only buy what you eat. So sit down and think about, what do you guys normally eat in your everyday life, breakfast, lunch, and dinners, and kind of write it out. If you've got some from scratch recipes, make sure you have those handy too. Or maybe go through and find some new from scratch recipes that you can make at home with your kids. And it'll be really. I grew up in the country, and my girlfriend and I, when we got home from school every day, our parents were working. So what we did is we had like recipe books, or we were at the library, or every now and then when cooking for my family for dinner time. So I've always cooked from scratch. I've always been brought up around cooking from scratch, and that might not be a skill that you have right now, but it's a skill you can build on. And it's a skill that you can teach to your children today. Let's see. Like, probably the easiest way to save money is just to cook from home from scratch, which is a lot of people what they started to do over the last 2 years. That touch on is a garden. A garden could be small. It could just be just some other really easy things to grow are like greens. Your kale, collard, Swiss chard, or pie kind of things. It does take a long time to grow. Some of the things that if you've never had a garden, like onions and carrots, all take like 6 months to grow in the ground. Potatoes take a long time to grow in the ground, so it's not like you're going to get a lot of food right away. But greens and things can grow very quickly, and you can make smoothies with them. You can make salad like kale. Super simple recipes with like 3 ingredients or less. What else? Oh, so yeah, if you're wanting to start a garden, thinking about trying to save some money, is it worth it to start a garden? Well, my husband and I are into this like 5, 6 years here in South Texas. We have hard packed clay. I mean, it is like cement rock hard. And so I actually was trying to start a garden before we had chickens. We're allowed to have chickens here, and they make great compost, and it's taken a long time. If you're thinking of having a garden, check out if there's, you can do some posts. Is anybody raising meat rabbits or chickens and has manure available or composted manure available that you could place in your garden and pick up for free or really cheap or whatever, or do a trade? That's how we got a lot of manure for our garden to start with, because honestly, to go be using some type of fertilizer because they need nutrients to grow your food. So if you have hard packed clay, it could be a challenge. If you have sandy soil, it could be a challenge. If you have anything in between, you probably don't need a whole lot of amending to your soil. And there's usually someplace you can get it tested for free to find out the nutrients and the pH level. You can also pick up a really cheap soil test at, I think, like Lowe's or Home Depot in the garden center. So is it worth it to start a garden? In the long term, I would say yes. In the short term, it's something that you decide you have time to take care of. You know, is there a lot of pest pressure in your area? Maybe just talk to some other gardeners and join some other garden groups online and have just a chat with people and see how what they're growing is it easy to grow and something that you can grow in your area. Um, so yeah, say like with everything that's going on, a lot of things there's emergencies that come up all the time. So kind of like the whole Dave Ramsey thing is, you're setting aside money for emergencies because life is full of emergencies that come up because we don't expect them. That's why they're emergencies. They might come up, maybe have these aside. And if it's more important to put food on your table than trying to save up money, I suggest that you start checking out your dollar store, your Dollar Tree, your Family Dollar, your General Dollar. There's a lot of great things available for $1 less. Now, some of them are going up on their prices recently, so they're not quite $1 on some things, but there are some great values there. The turnaround was really quick, so produce like canned things and things like that are not sitting on the shelves for a long time. So do canned goods yourself. It's really easy to pick up pasta or things like that. I mean, I know we're gluten-free here, so I've gone to Walmart and picked up our brown rice that I have on and have a long time to grow tomatoes. And we don't have natural gas hookup to our house. We have from I think AgriLife Grow. I'll try to put the link below. So we cook outside on our fire pit or on our propane tanks with our Carolina cooker and our cast iron. So for emergencies or just because we like cooking outside, I believe these are still. This is our HEB. This is $2 for a good can of some basic pasta sauce that you can do lots of things with, and it's really cheap. So like the cost of jars these days has gone up, so it's more than $1 a jar to get jars, and a lot of times they're not available with everything that's been going on. I've had a hard time finding canning jars this past 2 years. It's really great to have on your shelves and ready and available. Another thing, like hubby and I were into, like our big deep freezer went out last year, and we were like, do we really want to have a deep freezer? We lose power here a lot due to being in an urban environment where there's accidents or there's power outages because they're working on in the town or there's a hurricane or whatever they're doing. Our answer to that was no at the time. We've changed our mind on that recently because and then we lived out of the coolers until we could get a repair person out here to fix our fridge and freezer, and it took about a week. So I lost some dairy, but we didn't lose any of the meat that we had in our freezer. But so this was, if you have a pressure canner, this is an option. I know there's videos out there. I'm not sure if I've made one, but you can pressure can like chicken, beef, whatever you like to eat. This is actually just ground hamburger. So it's ground hamburger that we've pressure canned for 90 minutes, and I have that shelf stable on my shelves. Other things that we've done where it was water bath canning, which would be a cheaper option because pressure canners run around $150 or more, $130. It depends on what you're getting. We've done water bath canning where we've grown garden. So we made our relish, our Dixie relish. I have a recipe for that. This was cucumbers, onions, and peppers. So that's on my shelves. I like that in my tuna fish, deviled eggs. You can put it chicken salad, turkey salad, things like that. I do have fruit trees here, and no limes, and no avocados this year. So last year I did a lot of canning, and I was able to can up some cranberry sauce with our Meyer lemons with organic cane sugar. You can use whatever you like, but I was able to can that up and have that on our shelves that's shelf stable. We also now blueberry jam is expensive. It's been expensive for I don't know how long. So we went and got a lot of blueberries, either frozen or organic, or we have a fruit stand. It was like $3 or whatever it was. And then you can just come home and water bath can up your jams or jellies and make like a bunch of that on your shelves. And we're not into peanut butter because we're allergic to peanuts. We do almond butter or cashew butter, and so with the gluten-free bread that I make, I've got like a PB and J, and that's all shelf stable. So those that we've put on our shelves. Something that I thought of, if you're not able to pressure can meat like this, you can go to the store and meat you can pick up. I found roast beef at Walmart. I found Hormel turkey at Walmart. I found tuna fish everywhere. There's always chicken available everywhere. There's salmon available. Your family likes to eat. Like my family likes to eat tuna fish fresh, or we like to make tuna noodle salad casserole. It's a really old recipe. I found it in the thing my family likes to have. So something really important to us, since we weren't going to have a deep freezer at the time, was making sure we had shelf-stable canned meats. So the other thing I'm going to talk about, and I'm not doing a pantry tour today, is just think of things that you can put together to make meals. I think spices was the first thing I really started with. I didn't have a lot of like different spices in bulk that I wanted to have for our pantry, and they actually became very difficult to find. So we have a local store here called Natural Roasters that has bulk spices for really nice. So in the beginning, I just made sure we had salt and pepper and garlic, because we put that probably on everything. And you probably don't really need anything else, but it's nice to have other spices to make the dishes. Now I do have some luxury items that we purchased when we moved here 5 years ago. I purchased an Caliber dehydrator. It's not necessary to purchase a dehydrator. I was raw vegan at the time, and I was making a lot of things, and I also wanted to preserve things from our garden. So for us, having a dehydrator, or I have a Vitamix, not all necessary. You can have like a hand chopper, you can have what most people have, and a hand mixer. I don't have a big KitchenAid mixer. I have just a regular hand mixer. So some tools I have are a little bit more of a luxury item, not necessary, but it helps me to dehydrate stuff from the garden, dehydrated things for soup. So I've got dehydrated carrots, onions, celery, and peppers and mushrooms in my pantry in some large, tall mason jars. So I can throw together a quick soup or a meatloaf or whatever we eat, or sometimes we'll do pasta dishes with a sauce and some mushrooms and peppers in there. I'm just going to share a couple of things that's really important to have on our pantry. We're not endorsed by anybody of this, but we did try. I like this brand. It's called Hoosier Hills. So getting like a cheddar cheese. This is so easy to make mac and cheese. All you need, and there's almond milk or whatever, and you just add this to it, and it mixes up and makes like a really delicious, simple mac and cheese. It's super flavorful. Hubby loves it. We'll do like an Alfredo sauce with this, too. They have a lot of shelf things like heavy cream, which you can use for different things, or just use as a creamer. Mix up what you need when you need it for like a half and half for your coffee, because coffee is a necessity here in our home. Sour cream. So right now, sour cream is part of my lifestyle. Getting the non-fat dry milk, so we get the Walmart brand. I also have some other whole milks that I get that are grass-fed and dehydrated and powdered. I think it was from Hoosier Hill. But I thought for making casseroles or whatever. It'd just be really fun to have this on hand. It's shelf stable. It's called Anthony's Premium Butter Powder. I think this might have been $8 on sale for a pound, which I thought was a good deal. Um, I haven't made ghee in a while, and I don't really like the flavor of ghee as much as I used to. So I don't. I really like fresh butter, and so I'm anxious to try this in some recipes or to cook up with. And it's supposed to just like what? So maybe just make up a little bit at a time, not a huge batch. You can add it to soups, sauces, mac and cheese, potatoes, steamed veggies, and more. And of course, keto friendly, so you can be putting this in your bulletproof coffee. That maybe you hadn't thought of. The thing about sensible prepping is our pantry is a working pantry. We eat from it, and whenever I'm running low on something, that's when I get, if there's a sale on something, I stock up. So you can find some really good deals at the dollar store. Dollar Tree, Family Dollar. Family Dollar has eggs for $1. So like sausages for $1. I mean, there's lots of good deals that you can, like, if you're really trim and save some money from different things, um, you can do it. Even the milk has been on sale. They have Dairy Pure. Here it's on sale for $2.50 a gallon, and if I go to HEB, it's $4.48 a gallon. So I can get the same gallon at Family Dollar for like half the price. I like Borden or the more expensive brands, but that's not always that we're able to do, and we have to put money towards different things. So sometimes, you know, we save in to spend in others and spend our money wisely. Let's see. Water. So I'm gonna touch on water. So after your 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 pantry should be something that's workable, something you're eating from, something you can eat from, something you put meals together, not just like, oh, I have this, this, and this, and I have a bunch of snacks, and I have soda, or I have this. You do want to have some comfort foods. Like we have some chocolate chips, so we can make like chocolate chip cookies like that. Um, Coffee, things that we like. I have some bags of chips for hubby. Sometimes I like chips with like salsa and stuff like that. But for the most part, it's like hardcore stuff to keep you going, like meat, fats, pasta. We have flour. We have our extra flour. Our gluten-free flour has been hard to find. I have almond flour. Um, I have my gluten-free oats as well. I have a recipe for gluten-free oatmeal or gluten-free granola. I've made a gluten-free granola. That's really cheap and easy. I've got a recipe for that on my channel. What else? I don't know. Just don't go crazy. Just do a little bit at a time. Because like at the beginning of the pandemic, our lifestyle was I was trying to be living like a minimalist and running way too weak. So we actually every week we're trying to figure out how, with the food limit, get the food that we needed every week. It was a struggle. There's no toilet paper for like over a month or something, and it was really like it per transaction. So I don't know how people were doing it when if they didn't have anything on their shelves other than um, the pantries, and there was food drops and things like that. We actually had our vehicle break down several times, so during that time we had some crazy times the past 2 years. So I don't want to be in that position again. I've been in some crazy positions in my life, and I don't want to be there again. So we are sensible preppers prepping for the everyday emergencies that might pop up. We live in the coastal bend area, so we are prone to hurricanes. I lived in New England growing up, and we were prone to hurricanes and blizzards, so I'm used to that. And I'm used to my family having a garden and pantry and stocking, but I didn't be wasteful. So I feel like my husband and I really sat down, and it's stuff that we're all the time. So I just at this point. But we put a lot of time into stocking our pantry to be able to be at that point. Let's see what else. Okay, so yeah, water's life if you're growing things. Texas freeze apocalypse that happened to us. Whoa, our pipes busted. Let me tell you, we were out without running water in our home for 2 months. So after the first month, um, shower, portable shower panels, and we built a battery box to run it off of. I haven't made a video on that yet. Sorry, but I will probably put the link to where you can build it. It cost us about $350. Um, but we weren't sure where we were going to be able to fix our pipes. There was no parts available, and we just didn't have the time to keep waiting in line every day when parts showed up at the store, because that's what people have to do. And we tried several times and got skunked, and they were sold out or didn't get it, didn't know what they were getting. It took us 2 months to get our pipes fixed, and then when we went to start everything up, our water heater wasn't working. It wouldn't turn back on, and so when we went to get it replaced, it was also not to code. So that was a big additional expense this past year as well, was getting that to code. And I'm so happy we have it again. But if we ever need to shower off grid, we're ready to go. In town, the water can be bad at any time, and people end up running to the stores and getting water or trying to fill bottles of water. So before we moved here, I purchased a Berkey. So we have the Royal Berkey. Yes, I paid $100 with the 4 charcoal filters. A lady was selling hers. She was moving, and I got a really good deal. I got it for $100. So really love it. We have rain catchment here, which we set up for our garden. One, because we're always in a drought here, and we don't get rain sometimes up to 4 months. So having water for the garden where we weren't relying on the municipality was important to us. And if there's ever an emergency and we needed water, we could always filter our rainwater through the Berkey for the animals, for us, for cooking, for cleaning. Rainwater is now, I've shown that in my garden videos. I'm not going to show that here today. We have about a 1,400-gallon capacity, and that lasts months or more. I'd like to have a little bit more rain catchment storage, but that's just not in the budget this year. So rainwater is awesome, and you can get rainwater barrels from your city for a reasonable price. So I think ours were maybe 55-gallon from the city for $40. Purchase any of them because we ended up purchasing IBC totes that we set up right about, or at least a week. I'm thinking, depending on how you wisely use your water. So water, I went out and purchased the 5-gallon jugs that you can fill up with water. Those were hard to find at the time as well, but they're really heavy. So they're very heavy. It's hard for me to lift them. So I ended up purchasing a couple of 3-gallon water jugs to fill up. I know they tell you how much water to have on hand per person per day for your family. I forget how much is available of fresh water that we keep in that I rotate through. And also we had put one of those pumps on one of them so that we can, or outside, or how are you going to start? Are you going to store it long term? There's all kinds of things to look into and research for that too. So through our bottled water. What else? So went into your pantry, canning, gardening, and looking at my list. Yeah, build skills for your urban homestead, your country homestead, whatever it is you're up to that you want to do, and just want to live a little bit more peaceful life. Do what you can when you can with what you have, and each skill from there. The produce that you didn't grow, go get some good produce at a fruit stand or wherever. There might be little markets where they might be able to sell it to you a little bit cheaper, and network with others that the network of friends that are supportive with each other. I would say that's probably been invaluable to us, is having a network of friends who have been there when we've had some hard times, and no family to help us out here. So yeah, they've been super helpful, super loving and caring, and we're so blessed to have them. And yeah, don't freak out. I don't want my channel to be a scare factor, a fear factor, or pressure factor to make someone rush out and go do something that they don't want to do, cannot afford to do, and are not sure that they're ready to do. So this was just me having a cup of heart to heart with you guys. I hope some of this information was helpful. I hope you guys realize if you just take things one day at a time and work with what you have, make a plan, make a list, make some goals, sit down with your family, some meals. It doesn't have to be meal prep, but sit down and go over like what do you need to make this, what ingredients do you need to make this meal? Can you find it dehydrated? Can you find it, canned up or powdered or whatever? And then it'll be quick to put together. And then how are you going to be able to cook that? I know some people have some outdoor cooker stoves and things like that. As like I said, I will link the Carolina cooker. It is a cast iron propane cooker, and put a pot of a kettle on there to cook water for your teas and coffee. And if you have just even one cast iron pan, you can cook pretty much everything in a cast iron pan. And that's what we do. We cook outside a lot, and so that was we while we were like off grid those 2 months without water and everything. Um, we wanted to test run our propane cooker and see how long our propane tank would last us. And he said it was like over 2 months. Hubby said we were cooking there for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, just the two of us, and it lasted us at least over 2 months for one propane tank. If you have a wood fire pit like we do, we have wood stored up, but if it did rain, you can't really cook with wet wood. So how else would you cook with your food? So that was something to think about. So that's why we invested in Carolina Cooker. I think it's a great, and I hope you guys check it out. Thanks for joining me here at Becca's by the Bay. I'm just wishing everybody the attitudes to be a little bit more positive and less fearful. Um, I I feel bad that the community out there is pushing a lot of things, maybe, and perpetuating people to be more fearful maybe than they need to be. Just be sensible, have some common sense, sit down and talk to your family about what your resources are, what you can do together to work together, what you can do to work together with friends who, have the skill set to have the things and tools that you need on hand. Maybe think of if someone wanted to gift you something for the holidays, you know, are you looking for a mixer, a hand mixer, or a blender, or a food processor, or something for the garden? Maybe, if people wanting to gift you things like that, maybe, speak up and let them know. Use some of this instead of, jewelry or perfume or whatever, people might be gifting you. Just throw it out there. You never know. Someone might be really kind and have something extra. I mean, I know Marketplace has been really hard to find good finds lately. There used to be a lot of good finds on Marketplace of people giving away things for free, or check out some estate sales or garage sales. That's where we found a lot of different things for our gardening tools and pots and things like that. So wishing you a happy Thanksgiving. We are wishing you a blessed Christmas and happy New Year. Always be thankful. Much love. We'll see you in the next one.